Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of November 17th to the 23rd, 2024, where I take a look at a couple of stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion about them. And we have 5 stories to cover for this week, including October's 2024 Circana numbers are out though. Supposedly, Nintendo has a plan to deal with the scalper issue when the Nintendo Switch 2 or the Switch successor, whatever Nintendo's going to call it, does eventually launch though. Microsoft has updated their Xbox Cloud gaming now in an interesting way, and we also are learning about. Also, we'll talk about Sony buying the studio, buying a studio that is known for acquiring, or known for funding, from software, which is known to make the Elden Ring game and everything. And finally, an interesting category or interesting thing is coming up to the Game Awards 2024, and depending on who you're asking, some folks are not at least pleased with this decision or anything like that. If you're interested in where I got the source of these information, links will be in the description down below, so me watching this on YouTube. And if there's any part of the video you want to skip to, timestamps will also be in the description as well, or at the beginning of this video if there's a certain part you want to skip to. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call is the quick My 2 Cent, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail. So, the first one has to do with a report coming out that Final Fantasy VII Remake's Part 3, the third chapter in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the plot is complete and the game is supposedly entering full production. It's also been reported that there will be there are currently no plans for DLC for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth though. It'll be interesting to see when this game comes out. Some are expecting maybe around the time the PS6 comes out. Others believe that basically it could come out for the PS5. And given Square Enix's new multi-platform approach and all, many are wondering when will this come to, like, say, the Xbox Series X and S, or even the Switch successor. If I had to take a guess, though, I would say after Part 3 is done, there's a good chance we'll see the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy make it to other systems though. I just don't think it's going to happen right away. At least that's how I'm looking at it, to be exact. We also had a new trailer or a report about Chernobyl Lite. The Switch version is planning to be released December 13th, 2024, or Friday the 13th, to be exact though. I am very curious to see how this game is going to look and run on the Nintendo Switch and everything like that. I'm ranging from can they have it run well on the Switch to what changes or possible cutbacks were made to make the Switch version run well and everything like that. And given we have this and of course some of the Stalker games already on the Nintendo Switch, I certainly won't rule out the possibility that there is a chance Stalker 2 may one day make its way over to the Nintendo platform. Maybe, more than likely, if it does happen, maybe for the Switch successor though. But in the meantime, if you want looking forward to another Stalker-like game on the Nintendo Switch, I would consider giving Chernobyl Lite a try and everything like that. We also learned that Capcom's strategy game Kunikusu, or Goddess of the Path, unfortunately, at least according to Capcom, did not meet the sales target that they had originally aiming for. And you could point to multiple things. Some might point to Game Pass, and that might be a possibility though, but others may point to other things as well. Although they did mention other games like Ace Attorney Investigation did very well for them and everything like that. Supposedly they're going to try to advertise the game a bit more and all, and that's really, if what Capcom's saying is true, it is a little bit of a disappointment because I'm going to do a review on that game and I actually enjoyed it, to be exact. I like these smaller titles every now and then for these AAA companies to do, but at least according to Capcom, they are claiming it did not meet their sales target. We also learned for those who are planning to download Genshin Impact for the Xbox system, according to the reports coming out there, the file size we're looking at basically a 100 gigabytes for basically this game if you're planning to play it on Xbox. while it is somewhat smaller than what we saw with Stalker 2 and all, although there have been some reports about some issues with the game Stalker 2 in terms of bugs and everything like that, it is still very big and everything and so forth though. I believe this might be one of the games available that you could stream. I think it's part of Game Pass and everything like that. I'm not 100% sure about, but still, if you're planning to download Genshin Impact on your Xbox Series X or S, you might want to have to clear out some space, whether it's in the system or basically through any of the SD cards that you may have and everything. We also learned that Assassin's Creed Syndicate is getting a 60 FPS update for the PS5 and the Xbox frames per second, and for the Xbox Series X and S, which is certainly nice indeed to see that get basically a patch for getting it at 60 frames per second. That is certainly good indeed. Hopefully that it sits well for a lot of folks out there. And last but not least, we do have a new update for the PlayStation Portal. For those who have that now they have added a new update where you can actually stream it and not have to stream it with your console and certainly like that. They are saying that it's only available for PlayStation Plus Premium members, and it's currently in beta. So there are some games like Spider-Man, I think Miles Morales, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is available. So not every game is available at this time and all, but still, it seems that Sony's taking one step at a time in terms of the cloud streaming and everything. And so we'll see how well this plays out. But it does seem to indicate that you don't have to entirely link the PlayStation Portal to your PS5 or anything like that. So certainly not bad, and we'll see how well Sony plays their hands with this and all. And in the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cent, we just the folks behind the Minecraft movie released a second trailer and everything. And I will say, based on what I've seen so far with the second trailer, I will say this one seems a bit better than say what the first trailer is. The first trailer was. I'm not 100% sure about this movie. I'm worried that this could turn into another Borderlands type situation and all, but time will ultimately tell. The movie will come out next year, and we'll see if this one clicks with audiences or not. I mean, we have seen video game movies based off of video game adaptations that have done better, let's just say, but we've also seen some misfires like the Borderlands movie as an example and all. We also learned that there are some still photos coming out for the Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2, which takes place throughout the entire Monsterverse with Godzilla and King Kong and everything like that. I enjoyed the first season and everything. I thought that was really neat, and I am looking forward to when Season 2 finally comes out. We know it's officially underway. We know at the end of Season 1, they basically are on Skull Island and all, and I'm very curious to see where this takes place. As Season 1 took place after the 2015 Godzilla movie, I'm curious to see where Season 2 will be. Will this take place before the events of King Kong versus Godzilla in any way? So there's certainly some questions of exactly where Season 2 might take, though, but I am looking forward to Season 2 when it does premiere on Apple TV Plus. And last but not least, Deadline is reporting supposedly some box office previews that are coming in right now. And according to what they're saying is that Wicked so far has opened to basically 19 million in weekend preview, while Gladiator 2 has opened to 6.5 million for Thursday night. So it's going to be very interesting to see how well these movies do at the box office this holiday season and everything like that. Obviously, both of those movies, Wicked and Gladiator 2, are aiming for two different audiences, which isn't really surprising, but it will be very interesting to see if they do well at the box office or not this weekend, including how well they will do during the Thanksgiving weekend as well and all. Okay, with the Quick My Two Cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part of the Quick My Two Cent, we'll get started with our first story, and this has to do with an interesting decision for categories in the Game Awards this year, 2024 Game Awards and everything like that. Now, the Game Awards are known basically sometimes no short of controversies that tend to happen, though. Some of it may have to do with some of the decisions making of what game wins what awards and so forth, and there have been some controversies before in the past, whether it's Kojima not showing up to the Game Awards because Konami denied them whatsoever, to like who gets nominated, this and that. So it's no short of controversy. Sometimes I think the controversy makes sense. Other times I do think it can be blown way out of proportion. This one certainly has caught the attention of a lot of folks, and depending on your view, you could either view this as both a good or a bad thing, though. And that has to do with the fact that the Game Awards have now decided that they are going to add DLC and remakes and remasters could be eligible in categories including Game of the Year. In an article from Video Game Chronicles, it reads, quote, this Monday or on Monday, producer Jeff Kelly annual award show will announce the shortlist for each of its category. In an FAQ, which pretty much they did it all, in a FAQ post to the award show website, it has confirmed that DLCs, expansion, remakes, and remasters are all eligible for the shortlist. The website now reads, the Game Awards aim to recognize the best creative and technical work each year, irrespectively of the format of that content release. Expansion Pass, new game, season, DLC, remakes, and remaster are all eligible in all categories if the jury deems the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. Factors such as the newness of the content and its price and value should be taken into consideration. Jury members of the Game Awards were made aware of the inclusion of DLC, remakes, and remaster ahead of submitting their nomination. Now, I'm kind of mixed on this to some degree, though. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that some are looking at the possibility of the DLC Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, ERDTRE, and pointing out how that's eligible for Game of the Year and everything like that. To me, I'm not 100% sure I'm open to the idea of a DLC or something getting Game of the Year or anything like that, as there are plenty of games that I feel like could deserve Game of the Year and everything. So I'm not really 100% sure about that. That being said, I'm not opposed to the idea of, let's say, they decide to do its own category, like best DLC or best, expansion or season pass or best remaster and remake, though. I wouldn't be against the idea if it had its own separate category. That I would be okay with. I think that those should absolutely get their own category. I'm just not sure about the idea of it getting Game of the Year. I just don't think that would fit well into that category compared to if you're doing that, you might as well have Genshin Impact be nominated for Game of the Year, considering that it has its own category. I think like best mobile game or something like that. So I just think, to me, it would be better if it's just its own category. I think that would be more appropriate and everything like that. So we'll see how this all plays out and everything like that, though. Obviously, they'll be eligible for all categories, but like I said, I think their own category would be a better choice. So overall, very interesting to see how this will play out at the Game Awards, though. Clearly not everyone's on board with this idea and everything, but time will tell if this plays out very well or not. I mean, yes, I can understand some of the criticism, but also at the same time, as I mentioned, there are times when people on the internet will blow it way out of proportion and everything like that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with Sony possibly buying Kadokawa, or one of the owners of the Elden Rings and the developers FromSoft, and also the studio Acquire, which has also develop the latest game, Mario and Luigi Brothership and all. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Sony and apparently a decision to buy a studio, by like a firm known as, I think, Kadokawa. I apologize if I'm not saying it correctly. Now, this supposedly this firm or this business group owns several studios and several animes, to be exact, though. So it was kind of interesting when we heard a report from Reuters basically talking about buying the studio and everything like that. We know Sony has been buying some studios here and there. They've had, some made sense, like them buying Insomniac Games, considering that Insomniac Games has pretty much up to this point really has developed mostly for the Sony system, but there have been some questionable decisions on some of the studios Sony has purchased in the past. Bungie is a good example, and there's been some issues with their live service approach. And then, of course, there was Firewall Studio, and we all know what happened with Concord and everything like that. It is worth pointing out Sony has also purchased stuff like Crunchyroll and all, and that, for some anime fans, that's considered controversial, some of that decision, to be exact. And now this new talk about this, though, is sort of interesting to see how this all plays out. From an article from IGN, it is reported that basically Sony is, or at least this is what they had to say, quote, it says that Sony is reportedly in talks to buy Kadokawa, whose subsidy from software is behind the smash with Elden Ring, the Dark Souls, and Armored Core series, and the PlayStation exclusive Bloodborne. Reuters reports that Sony is looking to add it to its entertainment portfolio. The studio's business extends to areas that fit into Sony's broader entertainment offering, which includes anime, manga, TV, and films. They said this firm or anything, is a prolific publisher of anime, and Sony already owns anime streamers like Crunchyroll and Funimation, as well as From Software. This firm also owns the developer Spike Chunsoft, Acquire, and RPG Maker and Pixel Game Maker developer Gotcha Games. Talks between these two studios or firms are reportedly ongoing. If the talks are successful, Reuters said a deal could be signed in the coming weeks. Neither of them have could comment when asked about Reuters. However, according to a article from Nintendo Life, apparently the studio has basically has the studio behind, that helps fund, From Software has at least responded to this, and they are saying, quote, there are some articles on the acquisition of, Kadokawa Corporation, hence after the company by Sony Group Inc. However, this information is not announced by the company. The company has received an initial letter of intent to acquire the company's shares, but no decision has been made at this time. If there are any facts that should be announced in the future, we will make an announcement in a timely and appropriate manner and all. It is worth pointing out that Sony does own some stake in some of the studios and everything like that. Now, I will say I am kind of mixed on this, and I think a big concern I have about this is the whole monopoly issue, and that could really emerge from this, though. We've seen, Sony acquire Funimation and Crunchyroll, and there are some concerns about them maybe taking more control of animes and everything like that. There's some argument that there's some issues arguing about acquiring, the studio with Acquire, which has been known to do the Octopath Traveler, the recent release of Mario Luigi Brothership. I think they were also responsible for the Octopath Trip series and all. So there's certainly some concerns about them owning these studios and everything like that. On the other hand, the other side of the coin is that it is possible, though it's too early to tell this will happen, it is possible that Sony may allow these studios to still continue and do whatever they want to. So like if From Software decides to do a Elden Ring 2 and they want to release it as a multi-platform release, that they wouldn't prevent them from doing that, just like they didn't prevent Bungie from offering, updates for Destiny 2 on multiple platforms and everything like that. Same with Acquire. So there is a possibility that they could let these studios continue to do what they do, business as usual, just being under Sony's banner. So there are many ways you could kind of look at this, though. I do think that it does raise some monopoly and anti-consumer concerns as well. And of course, whether or not I also do have any union concerns too. So there's it does raise certain eyebrows of Sony wanting to buy these buy this firm, or buy this media powerhouse and everything like that. So we'll see what happens. So far, the studio trying to be bought, saying right now they have heard from Sony but haven't made any announcements. So we'll see what happens. Maybe this deal will go through, maybe it won't, but I will have to wait and see what comes out of it, though. But I do have some concerns about this. So overall, obviously Sony wants to increase their portfolio and everything like that. But like I said, I do think it raises monopoly concerns. It does raise anti-consumer concerns, and to a certain degree, and being more of a blue-collar person, it does raise maybe some union concerns as well. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with Xbox Cloud Gaming getting sort of a update and everything. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at Xbox Cloud Gaming and a update that they recently started to add and everything like that. Now, one of the things we've seen pushed by at least Sony and Microsoft and others as well has been the push for cloud streaming. There have been some misfires with it, like Stadia to be exact, which had the right idea, but obviously there were some questionable decisions Google made that eventually they had to shut Stadia down for good. But we've also seen some that have fared better, like NVIDIA's GeForce Now and everything like that. And of course, we're seeing a push with Sony and Microsoft. As Sony got off to a rough start, but it does seem to indicate things are getting better and all. And now it's seeing with Xbox, we're seeing the same thing, as it sort of lines up with the whole this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, this is an Xbox, and so forth. Well, this week though, Microsoft had announced, at least on their Xbox Wire, that they have now started where games that are not part of Game Pass though can now be streamed basically from Xbox Cloud Gaming. But there is a little bit of caveat to this though. In an article from the Xbox Wire, it reads that, quote, "Today, millions of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members are joining Xbox Cloud Gaming to play top titles from the Xbox Game Pass category on various devices. We've also heard your excitement about having more flexibility to stream games you own beyond Game Pass categories. Starting today," this person says, "I'm excited to announce that we're allowing Game Pass Ultimate members to stream selected games they own through TV and browsers or on supported devices like smartphones, PC, and tablets in all 28 countries where Xbox Cloud Gaming Beta is available. This is just the beginning. Next year, we're excited to bring this feature to Xbox console and Xbox apps on the window." It's worth pointing out that you can stream your games on your Xbox console, but I believe it's only available on Game Pass. Although supposedly if you use like the web browser on your Xbox console, that's sort of a workaround to a certain extent. Anyway, they announced that over 50 games have been basically added to this. Some of them are, like Baldur's Gate 3, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Avatar, Frontier of Pandora, Banisher, Ghosts of New Eden. Newer ones like Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, which I'm kind of surprised that one made it on the list considering that's just brand new. Cyberpunk 2077, Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. They also have High on Life on here, Hogwarts Legacy, Hitman World of Assassin, Circana Bridge of Spirit is on this as well. The Outlast Trials, basically Tom Clancy, The Division 2, Vision of Mana, Undertale, Warhammer 4000, Space Marine 2, WWE 2K24. So this certainly is an interesting feature, and it'll be very interesting to see more and more of these games make it on the list. But obviously, when you look at it though, there is some caveats to it though. Obviously, number one, you do need to have Game Pass Ultimate. So if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to access this feature to be exact. So there is sort of a downside in terms of accessing this stuff. The other issue is just how strong your internet connection is, whether it's at your home or if you're going to another place, just how strong your internet is, and that's sort of the downside to cloud gaming and cloud streaming and everything like that, is that you don't know if the area has good internet or bad internet. So that certainly is an issue there. And then of course there is the licensing issue, to be exact, because there is some concerns whether a lot of these games can be pulled from the licensing, pulled from these servers or not. I mean, we saw, I think in the early years with NVIDIA GeForce Now, some developers were not happy with their games being on NVIDIA GeForce Now and pulled their games from it though. So there's certainly some licensing issues that do need to be addressed with this though. So obviously there are some hurdles, but it is pretty clear that along with Sony as well, which I do feel they're going to probably face some of the similar issues with this Xbox Cloud Gaming. There's certainly going to be some hurdles that will have to be overcome. Do I think it's interesting? Yeah, to a certain degree. I do think it is interesting, but I also do think there are some limitations, considering streaming does have some limitations, especially depending on your location, compared to something like, say, the Nintendo Switch, where even if the Wi-Fi is not great, if the game can be played native or offline, you could play it and you don't have to worry about an always online connection or anything like that. So there's some caveats to this though. I think it's an interesting concept, but obviously cloud streaming or game streaming has some ways to go before it eventually becomes the new norm. But I do think to some degree this is kind of a step in the right direction. So overall, I would say very interesting update from Xbox, and not to mention also with the PlayStation Portable though. But there's no denying that there are some hurdles and some questions, especially with stuff like the licensing issue and everything like that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 4, and this one has to do with supposedly Nintendo trying to prepare for basically the Switch 2 launch, ranging from having enough systems available to trying to avoid the mistakes we've seen with basically scalpers, to even maybe some changes to the analog stick on the Switch 2 or Switch successor console. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, we're back with part 4 of my 2 cent video, and this one has to do with supposedly what Nintendo may be preparing for the upcoming, launch of the Switch 2 or the Switch successor and everything like that. Now, obviously, all eyes are on Nintendo to start talking about their next system and everything like that. Supposedly said they will talk about before the end of this fiscal year and everything like that, or fiscal quarter, but many are wondering when they will be talking about it. Most believe that the reason why they didn't talk about the Switch 2 in October or anything like that is mostly due to the fact that they want to maximize and have Switch do well for the holidays and maybe overtake the PS2, although it remains to be seen if that is still possible and everything like that. Not to mention, I do kind of believe once Nintendo starts talking about the Switch 2, I think it will be very difficult for them to try to push more of Nintendo Switch units and everything like that. But a couple of things that have popped up so far that seem to indicate that Nintendo, ranging from what they might be doing with the analog stick or the Joy-Con for the Switch 2, to the possibility of them maybe having enough systems at launch for everybody, though. The first one points to basically from Gaming Ranks, if I'm saying the name correctly, and supposedly there are reports coming out here about basically from a report was shared by someone by the name of Mike Odyssey, by the way the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office website set up. Supposedly it has to do with what we could expect about, what could be on the Joy-Cons regarding the joysticks, though. All right, they pointed out first the first patent he discussed illustrated what appears to be a redesign of the analog stick for the Switch 2. As Odyssey explains, there are still sticks and not circle pads that were found on the Nintendo 3DS, but the sticks are shaped in such a way that they don't protrude as much. This is definitely still a gap between the top of the stick and the surface of the controller, but is shorter than it was previously. Interesting. Odyssey also observes that the stick has a slightly wider range of motion, meaning the circle that the stick revolves around is a little bit bigger. Odyssey theorized that this modified analog stick design is intended to resolve the issues surrounding the Joy-Con stick drift. It will certainly be interesting if Nintendo found a design solution to that issue instead of resulting to the solution the internet has adopted in the form of Hall effective joysticks and all. Now, I will admit I haven't really experienced as much in terms of the Joy-Con drift. I think I did with my right Joy-Con, and I had to take that in. I took it to a place to fix it and everything like that, but I haven't really experienced Joy-Con drift on the level that we saw with other folks out there who have talked about the Joy-Con drift situation and everything like that. So, I mean, that was an issue, and Nintendo also had to settle this issue in court, though. I believe they may have won on some issues on this, though. But assuming what this report is true and assuming this patent is correct, it seems as though Nintendo is trying to figure out to avoid that kind of situation with the Switch 2 and all. And if that is true, I think that's good. Hopefully this does address the Joy-Con drift situation, because I think that's the last thing Nintendo would want and all. The other thing talking about is supposedly Nintendo is aiming to have more Switch 2s available at launch. There have been some rumors pointing toward this. Some of this came from Fandom Wire, and it points out that Nintendo is projected to produce more units of Switch 2 at launch, potentially 2.5 times more than the original Switch release, though. The idea is supposedly to learn from the mistake, basically to avoid the kind of situation we saw with the Sony PS5 in 2020. Same with, with the Xbox Series X, although some people might factor in COVID kind of played a part in it, and that might be true. I think it was, but I also understand how there were a lot of people frustrated trying to get their hands on the PS5, and then you had scalpers come and take it, especially digital and everything like that. I know it took me a while to eventually get my hands on a PlayStation 5 and everything like that. So if this is true, it does seem to indicate Nintendo is trying to beat scalpers and everything like that. Whether they succeed or not, that remains to be seen. However, we did see a situation with the PS5 Pro that recently came out, and it seems as though their scalpers are having issues trying to sell that system because there doesn't seem to be a huge supply and demand, or at least on the level they were hoping for, such as the success, like kind of success they had with the PS5. Although, as I mentioned before, there is a silver lining, and that is the PS5 Pro disc attachment seems they've been finding more success on that one, though. But if that is true, then hopefully Nintendo will address the scalping issue, and there will be enough systems available for people who are looking forward to buying the system when it does eventually come out. So overall, if this new patent is saying is true and trying to address the stick drift issue for the Switch 2, when that system comes out, then I'm all for it, though, but we'll have to wait and see. As far as having enough systems available at launch, I am hoping that this does address the scalper issue, so those who want to be able to pick up a Nintendo Switch 2 or Switch successor are able to do so. Whether or not that works or not remains to be seen. However, as I mentioned, we saw what happened with the PS5 Pro. We saw how scalpers are having a hard time trying to sell that system, so it's by no means not out of the realm of possibility or anything like that at all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fifth and final part, and this one has to do with October's 2024 Circana numbers basically out. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fifth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we'll be taking a look at the Circana numbers for October 2024. Now, one of the things that was going to be coming out of this numbers that I think some people were looking at was going to be Call of Duty Black Ops 6, because following Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, there were many who were wondering when, how are they going to put the games on Game Pass, though? We started to see, Spyro Reignited Trilogy make its way into Game Pass, which was kind of surprised to some folks out there. But Black Ops 6 going into it, though, that was going to be kind of interesting to see how that one plays. And many are wondering, what will that do not only in terms of sales-wise, but what could that also do in terms of for Game Pass and all? And there have been reports that Game Pass is sort of stagnated for Microsoft, and the question is whether or not this would give, Game Pass a boost or anything like that. Well, supposedly the stuff have come out, and it does seem to indicate that despite Black Ops 6 being on Game Pass, it hasn't stopped the game from, doing very well on terms of sales-wise. On top of that, it seems to indicate that it definitely helped Game Pass in general. This article comes from Windows Central, and it reads that, quote, Treyarch and Raven Software's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was the best-selling game of October 2024. In the U.S., Circana exclusive director and advisor Matt Piscatella explained on Friday via BlueSky. The latest entry in Activision's annual blockbuster first-person shooter franchise instantly became the third best-selling game of the year, with sales in the first 2 weeks 23% higher than last year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is available day one on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass, a first for the series since Microsoft acquired acquisition of Activision Blizzard King. Patella noticed that non-mobile video game subscription spending for the month rose 16%, largely thanks to largely thanks to Xbox Game Pass. They also mentioned in terms of console sales, it reads that PS5 took first place in units sold and dollar sales, while Xbox Series X and S console came in second in both categories, while Nintendo Switch stayed in third place, which, on a side note, I'm not really surprised. I think at this point everyone owns a Nintendo Switch. I just don't know how many more Nintendo Switches Nintendo can sell to, though. But they do point out that overall, video game hardware has dropped 23% year over year, with Nintendo Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series S dropping 38%, 20%, and 18% retrospectively. In terms of how the games did, and pointing out October 2024 Circana sales charts of the top best-selling games in the U.S. We have Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at number 1, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero at number 2, Silent Hill 2, the remake, 2024 at number 3, Undisputed at number 4, Metaphor Refantazo, if I'm saying the name correctly, at number 5, Dragon Age, the Veilguard at number 6, Super Mario Party Jamboree at number 7, Madden NFL 25 at number 8, Sonic X Shadow Generation number 9, EA Sports FC 25 at number 10, EA Sports College Football 25 at number 11, The Legend of Zelda Echo of Wisdom at number 12, Hogwarts Legacy at number 13, NHL 25 at number 14, Astrobot at number 15, Minecraft at number 16, NBA 2K25 at number 17, Life is Strange Double Expose at number 18, Final Fantasy 1 through I think maybe 10 or 6 bundle at number 19, and Elden Ring at number 20. Over on the October, in terms of the best-selling game of the year so far, we have EA Sports College Football 25 at number 1, Helldivers 2 at number 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at number 3, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero at number 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 2023 version at number 5, Madden NFL 25 at number 6, EA Sports MVP Bundle at number 7, Elden Ring at number 8, Dragon's Dogma 2 at number 9, EA Sports FC 25 at number 10, MLB The Show 24 at number 11, WWE 2K 24 at number 12, Hogwarts Legacy at number 13, Grand Theft Auto 5 at number 14, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth at number 15, Tekken 8 at number 16, NBA 2K24 at number 17, Minecraft at number 18, Madden NFL 24 at number 19, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League at number 20 and all. So I think the big takeaway you could take away from this Circana chart is that it's clearly Black Ops 6 is doing well for Microsoft in a way. Not only is the game doing well both multi-platform wise, but it seems as though it has a positive impact on Game Pass and everything like that. I've yet to try the game out, mostly because even for the campaign, you have to sign up for battle.net, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Even for the campaign, though, at least that's how I'm looking at it and everything like that. But nevertheless, it seems to be doing very well and all. Now, what does that mean long term? It's going to be interesting to see what this means going forward when obviously next year's Call of Duty comes out, assuming Microsoft continues that tradition, or if they decide not to do the release a Call of Duty game every year or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next year when another Call of Duty comes out, and whether or not we see increase in Game Pass subscription or not. But clearly for this month, though, Microsoft must be pretty happy with how Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is performing. Same with Activision, Blizzard and all. So obviously Black Ops 6 was probably the big winner for this month, though, and to some degree Game Pass, considering that it seems though it did give them a boost and everything like that. So time will tell going forward when future Call of Duty games make their way over, whether, I'm referring to the new ones though, whether that gives a boost or not. So overall, it's clear Black Ops 6 was the winner, and it's also pretty clear that Black Ops 6 definitely helped give Game Pass a boost and everything. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about DLC remakes and remaster being eligible for all categories, including Game of the Year at this year's Game Awards? Do you think this is a smart move for them to do, or do you feel this is a controversial move? And would you have preferred if they had their own separate category rather than being nominated for be eligible for all categories and all? What are your thoughts about Sony buying Kadokawa, or the studio or this firm that owns basically, developers of Elden Ring and, Acquire and From Software and all, though? Do you think this is a smart move on Sony? Do you think there are some concerns following what we've seen so far with, Aulx Studio and Concord and Bungie with Destiny 2, though? Do you think it does raise some monopoly concerns in any way? What are your thoughts about this new update for Xbox Cloud and everything? Do you think this is good for what Microsoft is doing with this? Do you think there may be some concerns like licensing issue and how well the streaming service has done? Are you going to be using this Xbox Cloud gaming? And are you looking forward to supposedly next year when it will be available on your Xbox Series X and S console and all? And finally, what are your thoughts about the October 2024 Circana numbers, though? Were you surprised or not surprised to see Black Ops 6 do very well? Were you kind of surprised to see it give Xbox Game Pass a boost and everything like that? And could we see Game Pass subscription go up even more following this boost from Black Ops 6 in any way? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.